All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about this is a very interesting story here. Election 2024, Mahama sets 5 questions for Bawumia. Okay, so let's let me read that story. Now, the National Democratic Congress NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama has issued 5 critical questions to Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, the New Patriotic Party's presidential candidate for the 2024 elections. Now, Mahama's questions focus on urgent economic challenges facing Ghana, addressing topics such as exchange rate, national debt, inflation, and what he describes as Dr. Bawumia's shift from economic management to prioritizing digitalization. Now, Mahama noted that Dr. Bawumia had once posed similar questions to the late Vice President Pa Kwesi Amissah-Arthur when Bawumia was the NPP's running mate. Now Mahama contends that Dr. Bawumia should provide the same level of transparency and accountability regarding the current economic situation under his oversight. Now, Mahama stressed that these questions reflect Ghanaians' demand for clarity and responsibility in the economic governance from Dr. Bawumia and the NPP. Now, a quote here. He used to give lectures every month about how to run an economy and how to fix the economy. He posed 170 questions to my Vice President, Amissah-Arthur. He should go and answer the 170 questions himself. Indeed, he shouldn't answer 170 questions. He should answer only 3. Question 1, he should come and answer, why is the exchange rate 17 Ghana cedis to the dollar? Question 2, why has Ghana's debt risen from 120 billion to 767 billion Ghana cedis in 8 years? He should come and answer. Question 3, why did inflation rise to where it is at 54% under your administration for 8 years? And then let me add 2 more. Question 4, why did you borrow 42 billion Ghana cedis from the Bank of Ghana? He should come and answer those questions. We don't need 170. With the 170, if he wants, he can answer them himself. But Ghanaians are asking him 4 questions. He should come and answer those 4 questions and explain to Ghanaians why we are where we are. The last question is, why has he run away from the economy to digitalization? He used to be talking a lot about the economy. Today, he can't mention the economy. It's not in his vocabulary. Anytime he opens his mouth, digitalization. Come and talk about the economy. That's question 5. 5 questions. Tell him you should come and answer them, he stated. All right. Lawratu.
David.
Yeah. It's a very interesting time that we find ourselves. Everyone purports to have questions when it suits them. At this point, Mahama is asking the questions. Please, do you have any answers from your flag bearer?
David, this is interesting. Is the former president asking these questions because Dr. Bawumia asked the late vice president questions? I mean, we need to cut the jokes and get
No, but you have
serious.
answers to these.
Have you? I was thinking that you're going to go through the 50 questions that Dr. Bawumia has posed to him. Since Dr. Bawumia is the one who has been posing questions and he wants to do same. There are 50 questions. He's brought 5. You should go and answer the 50. I mean, there's an opportunity for flag bearers to tell the country what they want to do. There's a debate. You are running away from a debate and you are sitting in the corner asking questions. I mean, we need to take Ghanaians serious. All these processes we are going through, what is it for? It's to come and lead this country and champion the development and the betterment of this country. How well can you tell Ghanaians what you want to offer them, if not come face to face and debate these issues. I mean, like Dr. Bawumia said in his release, moderators can ask him those questions, but he should also answer the 50. Or if he's not ready to answer them, he should come for a debate. Why is he running from a debate and asking questions from a guy? It's like, come, let's address an issue. You are standing at a corner saying things that are not supposed to say. This government hasn't hidden away from the fact that there are challenges. But at least no one, not the Vice President, not His Excellency the President, not any of them has come to tell us that they've developed a dead goat syndrome. None of them have come to tell us that all the meat has been eaten. It's left with bones. None of them has come to tell us that when you go to places like Ashanti region, even if you asphalt roads with gold, they will show appreciation. Look, we find ourselves in challenges as a country. But be as it may, some of the things that have to make the lives of Ghanaians better, like health, like education, and all those things, have seen some significant improvements. When you even talk about the economy, I was just looking at the World Bank website, and when you go under the recent economy developments in Ghana, it states emphatically that in the first half of 2024, Ghana's GDP surged by 5.9%, up from 2.8% in 2023, driven by an 8.1% growth in the industry sector, particularly in oil and gas. Agriculture expanded by 5.1%, despite a significant contraction in cocoa, while the services sector grew by 4.5%, down from 6% in 2023. Right. Tight monetary policy and stable exchange rates help reduce inflation from 54.1% in December 2022 to 23.2% in December 2020. Through this inflation, though disinflation slowed down to 20% and all that, these things are there. When the challenges started, and we are all there, well, they will admit on international platforms that we had external challenges, but come in country and try to hoodwink people that there were no external challenges. But in the wake of COVID, for example, His Excellency the President was clear, and to paraphrase him, and that is what a leader does, not to throw their hands in the air and say they have become a dead goat. His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, said he knows how to bring the economy back to life, but he doesn't know how to bring dead people back to life. Right? That hope, that is what we are seeing. That zeal to make sure that our economy gets back to what it's supposed to be. Okay. It hasn't gotten to where it is, but from 54% inflation to 20-something, which will get better in the coming days based on the challenges. And I'm not reading this from any Ghana portal for you to say that it's coming. I'm reading it from the World Bank. And it's here. You can look at it. You get it. So it's not like we are not, we haven't been open with Ghanaians and all that. But if he really wants to understand,
but if the World Bank is saying this,
yes.
Lawratu, why is the Vice President not speaking on it? I mean, I'm not even pretending to have an authority to say he must speak on it.
Speaking on what?
On the various things that the progress that.
But David, if you've been following, there's a monthly update by the Ministry of Finance.
Yes.
That gives an update on how economy is doing.
Okay.
So what was the Vice President supposed to come and see? And I have said times without number, anybody who says that the Vice President is talking about digitalization doesn't understand where the world is moving. Okay. So it's not surprising that when the Vice President says we need to build cybersecurity sector, we need to develop 1 million digital jobs for the youth. Our compatriots in the NDC, led by their flag bearer, will come and say, we'll give you kokon kitty and ebu. You get it? They don't understand The world is moving.
Yeah.
What runs now? What runs the economy now? It's digitalization. Today, how many times do we go to the bank?
Hardly.
Hardly. What is causing it? It's digitalization. Today, how many times do we move around picking things? You get people to deliver those things to you. Today, how do we move around apart from taxis, hailing rides? What is moving it? Digitalization. Yeah. So anybody who says an economist is talking about digitalization doesn't understand where the world is going. It's still in the past. It's still in the analog era. Okay. They don't understand that it's the fourth industrial revolution, and some other economists have even declared the fifth, which is more on character and morality and all that. So if you sit in your corner and talking about Nkukobo and Ketenketi in 2024, and you say an economist is talking to digitalization, and that has no bearing on the, okay, then we need to be really scared of this alternative that they are offering, because the world has gone digital. Today, as we sit here, hitherto, people will have to go and look for what you've uploaded after the show. Today, anybody in this part of the world can listen to us live, watch us live by virtue of digitalization, by virtue of having access to internet and all that. And that is where the world is moving. Let's move with the world. Let's stop staying in the past.
Thank you.
Ghana is not an island.
All right, thank you. Nigel, so without answering 50 questions, 5 have been posed by John Dramani Mahama, and he's demanding answers for his questions. Your take on this?
And so, David, I'm sure I would have equal share of the time because I monitored it. And to let our viewers know that this morning, the best Lawratu could have done.
You just have to keep my name out of your submission. David,
to actually,
if you want to finish the show, she should keep my name out of your submission.
Apologize to the good people of Ghana.
Please speak to the issues.
David, yes. I repeat, the best Lawratu and NPP communicators can do, including their flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the best they can do is to show a certain level of remorse for how they have ditched Ghana's economy into the tatters. And maybe someone here at the table needs a reminder that when we mention Dr. Bawumia, we are talking about the head of the economic management team. We are not talking about a market woman. We are talking about Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was packaged to us as the economic messiah. 8 years on, we have seen how Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is not an economic messiah, but is an economic mismanager and an economic oppressor. And so for me this morning, I think that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has been very lenient with the 5 questions. In fact, I'm sure if the ordinary Ghanaian has his or her own way, they have many questions for Dr. Bawumia. Now, when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo brought Dr. Bawumia from the Bank of Ghana, we were told his job description. And Dr. Bawumia's job description was that he should come and build a robust economy and stabilize the city. That was the job description. We were not told that he would come and be the issuer of Ghana cards, a comedian and a dancer. I'm not sure.
Why would you address him as a comedian and a dancer?
He has actually played with all aspects of the, to the extent that he admitted that, oh, on this matter I was joking. On this matter I was just joking. Is the office of the vice president, and for that matter the presidency, for jokes? What we are saying is that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia, as head of the economic management team, must accept that they have failed. Dr. Bawumia must accept that he's a failed economist. Now let's go into the questions that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama asked. The first one was on the cedi to the dollar. Remember when Dr. Bawumia told us that when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. Because he desperately needed power. Now, Ghanaians believed these lies that Dr. Bawumia threw at us and then voted for Dr. Bawumia. Now, when he got the chance to head the economic management team, he came to tell us that, so now it is warped logic to think that when the fundamentals are not right, the exchange rate would expose you. Is he a warped human being, or is he warped in his thinking? You say one thing, and on another breath, you are saying contrary. And in that very famous video, I was wondering why all the members of the economic management team were clapping. Clapping at what exactly? The man managed to confuse you and you were clapping. You remember how Dr. Bawumia held distinguished speaker series on the CD and showed us where to download his lectures. Today, even as the man of the digitalization that he claims, he doesn't have that data that he shared. See, Dr. Bawumia must first revise his own notes. He should go for the lectures that he presented to us on how to stabilize the cedi. Because then Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia told us that a cedi of 4 cedi 20 pesos to the dollar was unheard of. Now the cedi is hovering around 17 cedis and says today we should lift up our hands in singing praise to him. In fact, we maintain when the fundamentals are weak, Dr. Bawumia, the exchange rate will beat you up. Now, the second thing that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama spoke about was about the public debt. On your own channel, ChannelOne News, you have stated there that now each Ghanaian watching me today owes 24,000 cedis. What did I buy? So if I have a family of 5, each of us is owing, simply because of Dr. Bawumia's mismanagement, reckless expenditure, and over borrowing, each Ghanaian is owing 24,000 Ghana cedis. What did we buy? Then they criticized the public debt that was at 120 billion. Today, it is over 763 billion. And each Ghanaian watching me, you are owing, thanks to the recklessness, the mismanagement, the oppression of the NPP government, you are owing 24,000 cedis. If you keep the NPP in office, I'm sure by the time they travel the next term, would be owing in excess of about 80,000 cedis per Ghanaian. The third question that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama asked was on inflation. Under the economic messiah, the so-called, inflation soared up until 54%. Today, Lawratu is saying that inflation was 54 and it came down. Did I take it to 54%? David, are you responsible for inflation going to 54%? Who is responsible? In fact, it is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is chair of the economic management team. So this morning, nobody should shift the blame and the goalpost so that it favors them. Please. He told us during his lectures that, inflation of single digits under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was nothing to write home about. Today, Dr. Bawumia is gasping for breath, literally, to even maintain inflation. It is soaring and soaring, unprecedented levels of inflation above the roof. Now, owing to this inflation, David, many Ghanaians have been impoverished. You know what? If your salary is 5,000 cedis, inflation actually determines the value of that salary. And so you may be earning the same salary, or your salary might have increased marginally. But because of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's recklessness and his incompetence in managing the economy, the salary you have is near zero. And so this morning, nobody should tell us that, and they have done this, and this has improved. The reason why I said that, Lawratu and NPP communicators should be apologizing. You remember in the town hall meetings that they've been having, the finance minister, Dr. Amin himself, apologized to the good people of Ghana. And people sit at this table with no economic fundamentals.
Isn't that okay? Isn't that enough?
So what I'm saying is that if the managers of the economy, right, the finance minister, for example, is saying that we are apologizing for our mismanagement, and then you think that, no, he should not be apologizing. You have done excellently. When you are not the one with the books, what are we talking about? What I'm saying is that the apology and the remorse must be shown. Right. Now, the other thing is that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama mentioned the question on over-borrowing. David, I'm checking my time. On over-borrowing. You remember that Dr. Bawumia told us that we need not borrow. The money is here. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo told us that yete sikaso nso accommodate yete sikaso, and we had to borrow to the extent that we were kicked out of the capital markets. An economic messiah would go and overborrow on the Eurobond markets. See, the NPP has overborrowed altogether in excess of what all administrations in this Fourth Republic has borrowed. And in fact, they have nothing to show. I'll land shortly. In a recent book published by Manasseh Azure, he mentioned that the NPP continues to borrow with nothing to show for, because anytime they borrow, the president's brother, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, earns his share of the borrowing, to the extent that in their borrowing spree that they've embarked on, Ken Ofori-Atta has actually gained $9.2 million. So you think that you should be borrowing and you should be saving for family and friends. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, David, I think that you should be fair in the time. I would land quickly.
I'm also monitoring the time.
I would land quickly.
We need to go for it.
I'll land quickly. What I'm saying is that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is a walking contradiction of everything that they've ever said. And in an attempt, David, finally, in an attempt to gaslight Ghanaians, they'll say that let us blame it on COVID and Russia. COVID did the NPP government good more than bad. Finally, COVID gave the NPP government $1 billion from the IMF Rapid Credit Facility. Okay. Hold on. See, COVID gave the NPP...
You can come back. No, we need to take
are not allowing me to...
The show runs a certain way. We need to take a break, okay? So just hold on your thought. Don't lose your train of thought. We'll take a break. We'll be right back, all right? I mean, just before we went for the break, Chair was making some submissions, and she's just going to wrap up with that. Yes.
So what I'm saying is that, David, COVID did the NPP more good than bad. Okay. And I repeat, the NPP under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo received $1 billion from the IMF in the name of the Rapid Credit Facility. They went on to receive $600 million from the World Bank. That is not all. They received $83 million from South Korea. As if that is not enough, they went on to impose COVID levies on us, and we are still paying. And I bring assurances from the office of our flag bearer, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, that in the first 120 days, we are abolishing the COVID levy. Remember how their own Felicia Atete told us that they share the COVID money for party apparatchiks. So nobody has any moral right to say that, well, let us blame COVID for all the excesses that we are actually facing this morning. I think in wrapping up, the questions that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has said, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would rather swallow a giant elephant than gather the courage to answer those questions. And then lastly, I have never heard Dr. Bawumia in recent time mention the cedi and how the dollar is beating it. We didn't vote for Dr. Bawumia to come and issue Ghana card. Right. We voted for him to stabilize the cedi. That is his duty, and that is what Ghanaians expect from him.
All right, thank you. Do you have a rebuttal to that before we go to the next? Okay.
You see, David, when we seek to communicate for our party, we should eschew the appetite of trying to make sound bites, trying to use unprintable words, and trying to say things that we don't even understand. When you talk about today, the child who has just completed junior high school and going to senior high school, who can get their placement for free, is listening to us. That's by virtue of making the economy easier through digitalization. The woman in Bumprugu who can now go to a health facility and use her health insurance card without struggling to renew it or being shown the longest queue ever just because she wants medical care, is listening to us. Today, the business person who needs a TIN number and has a Ghana card doesn't need to struggle through getting their TIN number. At their time, it was 4%. Today, it's 85%. That is digitalization.
Before you wrap up your thoughts, let me just,
yes.
Before you wrap up your thoughts,
yes.
I want you to segue from what you're saying
yes.
into the conversation on what Bawumia said about our performance will guarantee
so
as victory.
That's what I'm building on. Right. Today, the SHS student who is enjoying free SHS, and today what do they say? That they will come and make free SHS better? When they said free SHS was a whimsical promise of a desperate politician, today is the NDC flag bearer desperate? Is he making whimsical promises? That is for Ghanaians to decide. Today, the constituencies that hitherto wouldn't have seen an ambulance, maternal health cases that would have been in an ambulance without fetal monitors, today, those women who are being saved by that ambulance are listening to us. People who used to die through snake bites just because they find themselves in hard-to-reach areas, today, by virtue of drones, are saved within the minute. That is digitalization, and that is how you build an economy. Today, the tertiary students who hitherto had to come the whole of their town, the whole of their village, just to get a guarantor for them to get a loan to pursue their dream of a university education. Today, by virtue of their card. So if anybody says that issuing Ghana cards is not important, they don't know what they are talking about. And that alternative is scary. If there's any word beyond scary, that is what you describe, that's alternative, and that alternative is the NDC. Today, districts that hitherto never had district hospitals, through the COVID levy, are seeing huge progress in the Agenda 1111. So if they want to come and abolish it, that is up to them. That is them thinking about Ghanaians. But you see, when Dr. Bawumia says, and let's also, in our quest to cause mischief, not misquote people. What did His Excellency the President do? He updated Ghanaians throughout the process of COVID. What did the Finance Minister say? He apologized to Ghanaians for the DDEP and thanked Ghanaians for their resilience and patience. What is government? There's no government without the people. So when you put people in a hardship, at least the Finance Minister has apologized on behalf of government, which we all identify with, has also thanked Ghanaians for it. But hitherto, 2016, what were we told? That the president who was supposed to give us hope, who now wants to become president again, said he has acquired a dead goat syndrome. So how do you compare these two and think the alternative is better? David, hitherto, 2017, LEAP wasn't working. School feeding wasn't working. Health insurance wasn't working. Today, are they working or not? When you talk about building your economy, that is what we talk about. Can they speak to that? There are things to show. So if Dr. Bawumia says that our performance, and I don't expect people to understand some of these things, because for people who left an economy with us, for us saying that all the meat has been eaten, it's left with the bones, and we built it up. Even in the peak of COVID, when developed economies were shrinking, we grew by a minimal percentage. At least Dr. Bawumia was worthy and qualified enough to be made head of economic management team vis-a-vis the challenges. Was their flag bearer qualified to be EMT head? Those are questions that answers that Ghanaians themselves know and our viewers today know. So I will repeat. Anybody who says the issuing of Ghana cards has brought no development. When you go to the issue of ghost names, both on the controller's payroll and SNIT. SNIT alone, we saved over 400 million by virtue of aligning our Ghana card numbers to our SNIT numbers. If you can't save your nation money, then what are your economic policies for? Then we talk about the exchange rate and nothing being done about it. You hear them talk about when we'll come and do import substitution. What better way to do import substitution than building factories within your country? To have local production.
Have we built factories?
Of course, David. There are factories that have been built under the 1D1F. That has created some 160,000 jobs, direct jobs.
How many factories do we have?
At the last count was about 126.
Really?
Yes, you can check.
126 factories?
Yes, across the country through the 1D1F
rehabilitated
project.
Or built from scratch?
David,
I mean,
if anybody who paid attention when the 1D1F initiative was launched, there were two streams. The greenfield projects and the brownfield projects. The greenfield ones are new, like a Kumfi and the like. The brownfields are the one that already existed, but needed to be revamped and expanded, like the Kasaprekos, the Laku farms, and all those things. Okay. David, if a company is operating at maybe 10%, employing maybe 5 people, and you add on capacity, you boost it. It increases the number of people they can employ. It improves their capacity. You don't just say just because you're putting together a policy, you must do away with the system. That's why there were two streams, the greenfield ones and the brownfield ones. So anybody who followed that initiative will understand why some existing companies are doing that. So those are the things we are talking about when we talk about building our economy in a digitalized manner. But if the alternative that doesn't understand, and I've always maintained that they don't get it, because if in 2024 all you're talking about is Nkukobo and Kitinkiti and all that, that is it. But to end with that, David, no matter the questions that are being asked, His Excellency, the former president, should make himself available for a debate if he really means well for this country.
Okay, all right, thank you.